KC Pioneers versus Nocturnes. KC Pioneers on the defense, Nocturnes on the attack. Let's see if they can finally land that revenge tour. And of course, as with everything, they'll try to swing things back in their favor with the op ban phase. Because I do think, Benny, at the very least, when it comes to map bans, I think Kansas City Pioneers have the upper hand.
And in terms of map bans for like right now, and this map bans,
yeah,
like,
well, in this phase specifically.
In this phase specifically, I feel like kind of, I don't know. Clubhouse is a map that everyone should know at this point, though.
That's true.
It's like there's a lot, and we talked before, like there's a lot of VODs for KCP on Clubhouse, though. So, and we talked about like support staff. Support staff's a big one too. The support staff for Nocturnes is pretty robust. So I'm hoping that Nocturnes have done their homework and we see a lot of counter stratting, a lot of different strats to, just straight up just make KCP work for it, make them work for what they do. But let's see so far. Thatcher banned out, Hibana banned out here in Clubhouse. Makes sense. Usually see two of these operators banned out to make it difficult for the attack, and Hibana is so powerful with those new changes to her X-Kairos launcher.
Well, Mai's not all that surprising as well. You take him down, take him off the board. Raptors, Gen, two positions that are still certainly defensible, but a little bit harder now that you don't have those magnets to support, say, ADSs on top of that. And for a final ban, one thing I would not be surprised to see is the Valkyrie. What do you know? There it is. Valkyrie, operator that's banned on pretty much every map in every situation at this point, just because of how powerful she can be. So for Nocturnes, at the very least, not a lot of surprises going into this, at least in terms of the op bans. Even if they did their homework, which I'm sure they did, this is probably one of the more standard ban phases in the game for Clubhouse especially.
Yeah, definitely this is a standard ban phase. Nothing too crazy from these teams when it comes to banning operators. But let's see what's happening first. We have NKG on the attack first, and here we have KCP. What can this show us on defense? And yeah, so you see that what Mai's been making, you talk about Rafters being difficult to hold, holding certain areas, maybe blue, maybe like Gen, depending on what you talk about, what could be difficult now. But the mirror is on the board, though. Mirror can be a fearsome tool in the right hands. Can be. Will it be, though?
On a side like Basement, you might see a mirror window plays watching inside a generator, so that while not the same defense as the Wamai, you do still have a lot more support to watch it. You can see Wimpy placing it right now to support a player playing inside a gen. Also gives a good fallback position if you manage to stave off an attack coming from dirt, so you watch your behind as well. And from the side of KCP, combined with that Mira, they're not playing too far off the side. They got the Mute, DS Lucas, likely playing on the side. The only one who's truly associated with roaming is Inrio, and you usually see that Jaeger playing that gen position. So Kansas City starting out, they're going a bit against their namesake. They're not venturing on new territory. They're sticking to close to the home, not wanting to play too risky against Nocturnes just yet.
Yeah, it's surprising in case people play like that. You expect them to play aggressive, like them to run upstairs, play that roam intel denial. But this time they're playing, to the chest. They're just setting up those mirrors so that makes it kind of, if the mirrors aren't dealt correctly, though there are, they could do it. The only thing really here to stop them would be, the mute jammers on top of those mirrors to stop them opening it. But if they can't get these mirrors open, then it kind of does funnel Nocturnes into a specific play, though. So I'm interested to see if that really happens, if they have to make a specific, dirt kitchen play. Or can they, deal with these mirrors and make a play happen in either will become blue, be coming into Moto, pushing into church, though, shots come out first. They're opening up that Moto hatch, and Nocturnes have done their business. They've droned out. They're going to start opening hatches and creating that soft destruction to see if they can find anything on these players to give them an edge early in the round.
And that vertical play is key to destroying those mirror windows. With that Hibana ban, there's not much you can do beyond send a nade on in or somehow get an angle, shoot it, and open it up. But since there is no roam, Nocturnes are free to acquire that vertical control to their heart's content. They do have to watch from below. Are two C4s in the hands of Kansas City Pioneers, but the question is how aggressive they can put on it. That's another question as well. Wimpy's appearing to play behind that mirror window. Wait to send the C4 over main later on once the push comes down from this area. So DS Lucas, he could go for some vertical play as well, but nobody on Kansas City Pioneers really seems all that eager to. I say that. We do see one. That is one player playing just behind Ashwell in pulse spot. Not a pulse, I believe that is DS Lucas, or it is someone at the very least trying to delay the attackers just a little bit longer. For a minute 30 seconds so far, Nocturnes haven't made much progress beyond that vertical.
Yeah, it seems at this point Nocturnes are really trying to figure out what the plan's going to be. They've opened up at least, the dirt, not a dirt tunnel. They've opened up, one of the hatches in the Moto. They opened up blue now. But with, as I said before, with a lot of time gone by, what is the plan? Sounds like grenades are going to go into blue so they can try and clear it out. And there it is, the grenade. Great start from the side of Nocturnes. The grenade in Rio out of blue. And if they can take control of blue and make this a Moto play, they can make a split play onto church, though. Droning out to see who's in dirt. The drone does get muted, though, so they can't truly know who's in dirt if they do push that. And I'm pretty sure Jolton's playing that with a shotgun, so anybody walking there should have their face taken off. C4 flies out. Freak takes a bit of damage. Wimpy's still playing this position. Freak goes down, looks like trying to push without enough information due to the mute jammers.
And then Exile getting the bomb down. We'll have somebody sitting above him with the coverage, but then neither of them are long for this whirl. As the bomb goes down, falls to the floor. It's just Mohesi and Lackey, one of the two newest pickups in Mohesi. He's on 25 HP, but one of the only hopes left for Nocturnes in round number 1. There he goes on the floor as the mute swings Gen, and it's the mute to pick up the final 2 as well. Start off with a 2K from DS Lucas, start off with a 2K from the Mira of Wimpy, end with a 2K of DS Lucas. Impressive first round by KCP.
Yeah, KCP playing that really close to the chest, playing to their advantage, playing to their debunkered positions. And more than anything, they just waited for Nocturnes to figure out what the play was going to be. And Nocturnes, they were able to get that first kill on blue. That's the big point. Grenade blue, they can take blue, so they're making a split push between blue and Moto. But unfortunately, they didn't really clear out church whatsoever. They still had the mirror as well. And I'm not sure what the cover was supposed to be on that plant, but they go for that plant right by vending machine. You know, of course, it was late in the round, so they had to go for something at that point. And really, Jolton's just playing, or Wimpy's just playing mirror at that spot, and he could just walk in and deny the plant, get both players. And I guess it was a push into blue elsewhere too, and I don't know where the maestro of Gomez got his kill, but those players were making these split pushes, and the only real pick they got was that grenade kill.
And it was a good nade by Mohesi, but no dirt control. All you really have is main and Moto, which, while powerful, the C4 had already put Wimpy down to 25 HP, or not Wimpy, put down the sledge down to 25 HP. That's just a difficult position to work your way out of. FICO was not the best on the coverage at that point. Of course, didn't have a choice. Not his fault. He got put to 25 HP, but it still made Exile getting that plant down a little bit unfeasible. So now that the Pioneers, they've won basement, they'll move up to CCTV and cash, and it looks like, once again, they're mainly focused on not only burning that utility, but also wasting time. They're bringing the Aruni and the Goyo to bring those projectiles and bulletproofs respectively, as well with the Goyo shields to lay down some fire. But look at this, Benny.
That is a lot.
We have an extension in a master bedroom. We don't see this dedicated extension all that often. What the hell am I looking at?
They reinforced all of bathroom. They reinforced 2 out of 3 walls in bedroom, or 3 out of 4 walls in bedroom. They didn't reinforce plat wall. They didn't reinforce construction to cash wall. This is what. This is very different. This is entirely different. This is betting all of your chips on these extensions. What is the problem? Like, how is it gonna go if Nocturne just rushes the site? If they just open the wall and just push in the site? Like, I'm interested to see what happens. If they're opening up, it sounds like they're opening up garage right now. They have a Maverick open up garage. They have 2 players, and also the first kill was Lackey onto Jolton, who looks like Jolton was playing either in sight or near sight, and that's 1 player down. Rooney off the board. I'm very interested to see what happens next.
Hey, you can see Jolton died. Might have been swinging that breach, and if you leave that hole open, sure, you got a Runegates there to burn utility, but if you're swinging that and somebody's holding a long angle in Narnia, you're giving your life away at a certain point. That's the risk with this situation. Not only, as Benny said, are you betting on that extension of master bedroom working out, you don't have a lot of room to play in that site because you've made free holes in it. The defense can look on through, so if you swing, you're pretty much a dead man at that point. There is still some bright points for the defense so far. Inrio holding on to Garage Raptors, playing smoke with that FMG9. Since the Wamaya's banned, makes sense that he's playing this position, but this is the issue here. Raptors is open pretty much for free. The shield on red is now cleared out. Exile just pushing on in, or at the very least holding the breach, waiting. No, he'll back on out. And Inrio and Gomez do still have control to contest that breach. Some intel as well at their disposal, but as one moved on in, it's an easy pre-fire for Gomez to pick up. Nocturnes have just stormed on through the site, and the only players left were the ones playing on that extension. As Wimpy's moved back in, his C4 goes wide. It will at the very least stave off the plant from Exile, but the attackers still have 1 minute and 5 seconds left. Wimpy's killed from Platwall. DS Lucas in a 1v4. He's clutched 1v4s on CCTV multiple times, but this one seems a little bit beyond his control. So much map control against him. A Maverick hole he doesn't know the position of. Nocturnes, I wouldn't say that round was given to him, but they had a little bit of an easier time overall.
It was very interesting, the fact that they had a whole extension into bedroom, bathroom. They full reinforced between rafters and CCTV, and they didn't reinforce plat. So this is a very different hold from the side of KC Pioneers, looking to, try and hold off and maybe collapse into for a retake. And I would say, if you're going for that kind of play, wouldn't you want some way to deny the plant, whether it be C4s from below? They didn't bring a lot of C4s on that play, so I'm not exactly sure what the intent was. Again, I don't know what's going on in the background. I don't know what the exact intent was from KCP. It's hard for us to figure out new strats when they come out of the book like that. But definitely, great to see them trying to innovate and change up the strat book.
I can't always respect that, as you said. The fact that they're at least trying something different, especially on a map like Clubhouse, a lot of teams refuse to do that anyway. So I can very much respect the intention there. And maybe that strat goes a little bit differently if Jolton's not killed swinging plat walls early as he did. They do have the shield to contest, so there's still a fair bit they have to cut through, so that might have just been an unlucky first pick overall. Whatever it was, though, it clearly dissuaded them from trying CC a second time. They'll move over to Gym Bedroom, and it doesn't look like they're holding it in any non-traditional way like we saw in CC. Sometimes we'll see a castle here, but since the introduction of Aruni, she sometimes fills that same space. You put on windows, maybe con window, gym window to burn utility, then you also have this extension inside of CCTV and cache. But this was also the site of that failed Nocturnes rush through Jacuzzi wall. So hopefully they've done their homework. If they make that play again, either take it a little bit slower, or Exod's not going to die to a thermite right as the breach opens.
Well, let's see the clearest extension. At least the last round, though, at least Nocturnes were, wise enough, or at least they were able to get the picks to allow them to make that play happen, even if they were confused on what exactly that, that strat was from the side of KCP. So good job, Nocturnes, to take round 2. And on round 3, talking about this extension, these players playing inside of cache, construction, logi. It looks to be Nocturnes not going for a rush. Lynx was, persuading to that. They don't want to do that same mistake. So this time they're going to actually try and clear this roam happening over here because, Jolton and Ninri are playing. Red stairs inside of cache, one in logi, and looks like one player is going over to Jacuzzi to open it up. And for the first minute so far, nothing's really happened, and probably just they're probably just droning and figuring out what they could do next.
Just gathering information, and we don't often see teams. I would say, actually, rephrase that. I would say we do still teams try and tackle the CCTV and cache room, but recently it seems teams more favor just pushing the Jacuzzi wall early on, not rushing it, but still pushing it. But they will have to gather a bit of intel on the positions on these roamers or inside of cache if they want to take it down. There's one player on red, one player in CC, but it is that red player who ends up taking them down. A C4 lands at Exod's feet, but it's the next 2 kills make it 3 to go the way of Nocturnes. Freak and Mohesi, the GN duo, they've made this a 2v4 that the Pioneers have to clutch their way out of. Gomez and Diaz Lucas, the 2 SAS operators, they're sitting on the site. With minute 30 left, we'll vault back in. A nade almost catches Gomez as he rotates back on through, but it's once again a clutch situation that KCP have to try and clamber back out of.
Yeah, that first C4 is scary for a second there because that was a good play from the side of KCP to, understand they're going to walk through the breach, get that C4 off, but the members of Nocturnes are able to get those refrags, putting them in the lead actually more than anything. They wouldn't even KCP couldn't get trades. So they put themselves in leads, and the last 2 players are off. They're actually separated. One on main stairs, one playing in logi. Nocturnes, do they have the intel to figure these players out, isolate them, and get those kills? There's the first kill with the grenade. Great grenade from Fico. Now it's just one player left. It's DS in a 1v4, and he dies to Lackey. And man, Nocturnes looking good so far. Very surprising, but also interesting to see what is KCP's cooking up.
Ben, you know what's something odd I've noticed so far? This game's pretty quiet. Kansas City Pioneers are a team that I wouldn't say we've associated with explosive aggression, but they were a team that I always felt like, especially in a round, you knew they were there. There was never a doubt that their presence was felt in the lobby. You could tell that KCP were either in control of it or they were fighting like hell. But so far here, even in the round they won, it's been fairly understated. Of course, you had Wimpy swinging that plant. You had DS Lucas getting a 2K as well. But especially in these couple rounds, it's just been Nocturnes. At least it's felt like Nocturnes acquiring the control they want. Maybe a member of KCP dies early on. And there, at the very least, you had Inrio getting the C4 early. But then at that point, Nocturnes had all rotated, progressed to positions where they had crossfires, angles galore. And everyone was cut down. It seems a little bit like, I wouldn't say KCP are scared or nervous, but I don't know. It feels a little bit different than a normal KCP game from what I'd associate with.
Well, we're talking about SG. Usually we associate KCP with those, the most mechanically gifted players in T2, usually. Because they're the teams that, are no problem taking fights. We associate with them being able to take fights and win them, usually, in these engagements. And the fact that they've lost in the last 2 rounds, maybe, of course, round 2 was different. Because round 2, that's where they had that weird setup. And so,
bit of an anomaly.
Yeah, a bit of anomaly. Them getting picked out was definitely not too crazy, seeing how weird they were playing that. But then you go to round 3, they play Gym Bedroom, and 3 players within the first, minute and a half are picked off. Even though they did get C4, they lost those fights, and it was kind of off screen. Some of them was just like players in cache, players in red, those players Inro dies downstairs. Those fights, we didn't see them all too, in first person, so we couldn't exactly speak for them, but KCP were losing a majority of gunfights you did not expect. So it's definitely interesting. Maybe it's because they're playing so to the chest when it's happening, but yeah, so far like we haven't seen any real crazy, any roam, any aggression from KCP like you usually see. Whether it be whatever reason it is, I don't know.
Well, that's also, I think, something we saw in the Nocturnes game against Aqualix that they're carrying on through, is that their mid-round was clinical, and that's exactly what we saw in round number 3. Once they reached that point, we hit the 2-minute mark, 3 members fall almost immediately as we hit that point. Of course, not necessarily because it hit the 2-minute mark, but Nocturnes have so far in this game carried on through with that mid-round strength. Now they're moving on in. Since the Pioneers are playing close to the chest, once again, Nocturnes are free to get this vertical control to their heart's content. Maverick moving inside a kitchen. Lackey sitting on top of Oil Pit right now, just peeking on down, seeing if anybody's getting aggressive or if he can glean any intel for the defensive setup. But Nocturnes are once again free to set up their early game, their mid game as well. And now that they know someone's in dirt and their Nocturnes are actively contesting it, Jolton might not have the easiest time like he did before.
Well, at least the Gemini Applicator will spot Jolton playing this corner of dirt. Grenade coming out. I don't know if he has ADS to play with him. He looks like he got baited, but a lot of damage done to Free because that grenade is very... That grenade is a pretty British sniper there. So damage done to both operators here, and they're going to back off. Dirt's still not in full control, but Lick's point, Freak should be able to push up and have an angle onto sight from Dirt. And so we're going to open up this kitchen hatch. And Nocturne's play seems to be a Dirt kitchen take. Diffuser is in bar for the moment, but again, no aggression from KCP. They're all playing towards sight, playing blue, playing very disciplined, I guess you would say, as they wait for the push to happen. And yeah, this Dirt push is going to be huge. Freak's now got an angle, and see if he can get any picks off of this angle into an Arsenal. They actually pushed in the blue. 3 members in blue from KCP.
It's going to be a little bit risky. Lackey will certainly have his work cut out for him if he manages to take down at least a couple of these members, but Nocturnes push on in through Dirt. Freak lands the opening duel, but there's DS Lucas to swing around and stop at least half of the manpower pushing this location. Almost the second, but Exot escapes with his life. Only a sliver of HP damage done to him. Wimpy, though, he's still holding down things inside of Church. Mohesi falls, but the most important player, FICO, right now, he's getting the bomb down relatively uncontested. He'll rotate off. As Exot falls inside of Arsenal, things have quickly swung back in the favor of the Pioneers. Lackey on 1 HP. FICO's the only one who can put up the biggest fight, but he too is on low HP now as well. A 1v2, 18 seconds left. He has the bomb, so it's not all terrible for Nocturnes. Look at how many defenders are looking towards him right now. One inside of blue, one inside of Church, the crossfire of a century. Jolton swings out, doesn't even need the other player to finish out that round. The Pioneers even at 2-2.
That round, Nocturnes, we talked about mid-round, we talked about them being able to excel in the mid-round, being able to take control, do the steps they need to do, and you saw here, they took control of Dirt, they opened up Kitchen Hatch. They go for the play, which is the push down Kitchen Hatch. They had a player drop down the hatch of Kitchen, push down Dirt. They had a player also go blue. But even that happened, they got the first pick, extremely traded out right then, right there, was traded out. And all of the members start pushing in from KCP back on the site, and they deny those players from sticking in Arsenal. Sticking that person blue, didn't get a fight, couldn't win that fight either. So KCP still winning these fights, still showing us that they can win these gunfights. So a good round from them, 2-2 right at the moment, though. It's still looking iffy, though. Both teams are going back and forth, and usually Clubhouse, you don't expect that back and forth.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
Don't necessarily, but also look at the site decision by Kansas City. They've opted not to go back to CC. Instead, they're going for that gym setup. This round wasn't particularly close for Kansas City Pioneers. In fact, it resulted in a fairly quick 2v4 early on compared to when engagements usually happen in this game. But yet, instead of going back to CC and maybe trying a new setup, they've opted to go to gym bedroom. That's a little bit worrying for me, at least for the potential of their CC hold. Of course, I'm not saying they don't have the capacity to try something different or even make that setup work. But since neither side was all that close, you don't often see teams just immediately go to that tertiary bomb site instead of that secondary like CCTV. They've had success on basement, to be sure, but these two sites, obviously it's not over and done with, but I'm a little bit worried for Kansas City Pioneers based on how they're playing this site rotation.
Well, let's see if they bring anything different to the board. If they're sticking with that same kind of, roam net last time, playing the extension into cash, playing red stairs like last time for their lives, and of course last time they lost all their lives in that extension, which was unfortunate. I just talked before, and yeah, I'd be worried too, because they're not really going for CCTV, and CCTV should be one of that more, the easier bomb site to play on, but maybe they're trying something different and they don't want to different. Heavy shots on Exot, he's getting shot through the drone hole, so he's been damn, but Freak with the first kill onto Jolton off in the distance. Again, that extension and players losing their lives in that extension again and again. This could be a problem for KCP if this is going to be the recurring, the recurring theme.
Freak's also 2 rounds in a row, been extremely powerful in that opening duel, but this one goes a little bit quicker than the last one did, and we haven't even hit the 2-minute mark yet. We are also seeing Nocturnes face this clear once again, or face this extension inside of CCTV and Cache. You can see some Maverick holes made along that wall to make it much harder to swing that CCTV window. That is likely their play. Instead of actively dealing with the roam, they'll just make an angle outside, make sure nobody goes for peek at that window, and effectively, while they do still have an angle inside a gym, it is much harder to deal with that overall, much harder to gain that control back. As I say that, the Pioneers, they gain control of this round in fairly quick fashion. Inrio and Wimpy both. They find 2 kills in this round, and now it's Nocturnes on the back foot. Lackey's a bit isolated right now, trapped outside this wall, away from the rest of his team. Well, with that kill, I would say it's effectively a 2v3 unless he rotates.
Interesting plays. KCP getting some good kills, and we said about talk about facing the extension head on, but they didn't really face the head on. They opened holes so they can get some good picks. If you see KC Pioneers being aggressive through those holes, through the plat wall, but nobody actually really pushed the Cache extension whatsoever. They only opened Jacuzzi. They've opened up that hatch into Logi. That's the really only entry so far from Nocturnes. With only a minute left, this could be dire if that's the only entries they have into sight. Wimpy playing inside of gold. He's getting pushed by one person, can get the kill. Freak gets one, FICO with another. It's down to 1v3. I talk about entries being important, and really, never mind, they're able to entry into sight, but it's a 1v2. FICO's low on HP. Diaz here has a C4 in hand, could try to get back into sight and deny a plan if need to. He's trying to bait out some kind of shot. See who's in sight. Info peeking. Plant's gonna go down. Puts on bed. It's gonna be the player, a Freak. Can he get the kill here? Can he hold off? And he can. He takes out Diaz and Nocturnes with another round.
There you go. Freak stepping up big for his team that round. I believe a 3K for the new pickup, and that was a really solid recovery by Nocturnes moving into that Logi hold. Great coordination by both Freak, really the entire team actually. Freak and FICO pushing on in, but Lackey as well to stun Wimpy as he was rotating back. Much easier to pick up that kill. So overall, Nocturnes, I have to say, their attacks have been looking extremely good on Clubhouse so far. Of course, on Consulate last week, we were all watching an Aqualix. They looked solid, but there were also a lot of faltering in their play. And for Nocturnes, they looked really strong. And the question was, is this a new form for Nocturnes? Or are they going to go face KCP and start faltering a little? But really, aside from those basement rounds, it looks like they haven't missed a step.
Yeah, we talk about that was a critical point from CDAPS was about mid-round pushing, mid-round excelling, and I would say that's exactly you put it. Recovery, you were in that 3v3, 3v4. You were down plays, you didn't really have an entry, and they double peek player inside of gold. They're able to get that stun off and push in and kill Wimpy, take control of Logi, have another player push elsewhere so they can at least take control of site. Sure, it was a 1v2. They had control of bedroom. They knew where the player was. So really, yeah, intel was big there. The fact that they had the intel, knew where exactly DS was. So I'm definitely interested, definitely excited to see Nocturnes getting better throughout this season compared to last season.
I agree, and I also think that's a very well-timed timeout by the Kansas City Pioneers. Of course, not letting too many rounds go against their way, trying to cut off their issues now, and we'll see if that timeout can affect their chances in this final round. They're going to CCTV and Cache, decide that setup did not work the first round, and they're bringing the same operator lineup to run this setup. One of the big question marks we had was Jolton dying behind that shield at Cache doorway, looking out over plat wall. How impactful was that death? Because you don't have anybody contesting it anymore. And overall, once you lost that man early on, one of the players on site as well, as there was a pretty dedicated extension in terms of both utility and manpower, how impactful was that? Gomez has now taken the Aruni. That's the operator Jolt was playing, and he has moved to the Maestro, and it looks like they're not going for that same setup. No Aruni gates, just reinforcements. Now, I think, combined with that tie-up, I think this setup should be a little bit stronger overall, because that plat wall opening, very risky play.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure what the intent of the play was exactly from KCP. I'd love to know what the thoughts were and why they did it, what exactly they were planning on with that, and that setup. But big thing here is the fact that Nocturnes have also run into. You see FICO dropping the sledge for a Capital so they can make take control of rafters or take control of maybe on site or where they want to put those fireballs and smoke bolts to advantage. And how well will it be for them as Nocturnes, looking to push this right now. They're going to claymore up these windows so they can't get jumped on, and they're going to go to work. They're going to put the intel, drone out where these players are, and figure out what the plan's going to be. And KCP are playing this normally. Nope, Mohesi will take a first bit of damage already. C4 through one of those holes he's making will put him on to 25 HP. Now, I'm not sure if you consider that worth a C4 or not, but at least he'll be easier to kill later on.
Plus, he's opening that wall pretty comfortably now, as long as he does his job. He's like 100 HP, 25 HP. I just want to get this wall open. So as far as I'm concerned, just let me do that at the very least. We also have this extension downstairs inside of Lounge. We've seen this strategy sometimes for Parabellum, for example, with an alibi and a deployable shield, but with DS Lucas on the Goya, we'll see them hold this same position. Again, holding downstairs inside of Lounge, incredibly important. Not only if it stays in your control, are you allowed to C4 later on in the round, but it also denies the attackers a pretty valuable thoroughfare onto the site. They'll rotate back in about a minute, though DS Lucas will rotate more so than Gomez, who's still pressuring the bottom of those stairs. And since the wall's been reinforced, Benny, Nocturnes are going at a much, much slower pace, and this wall seems to be challenging them incredibly.
Well, as you say, the wall does get open.
Oh, there you
Grenade
go.
seems to fly through red hall. He may destroy that shield that usually is in red, but no shield is there for the moment. So Nocturnes have done the start. They've opened up garage wall. They've opened up plat wall. So where is the intent for Nocturnes to go next? Are they going to push for that rafters? They have the caps out in store to help out. Especially when my band, they should be happen on. Looks like, oh, pushing in. Fico gets one with the bolt, but Gomez pushing around, gets that kill with that DMR. But he's traded out right by the window of blue. It's Blackie waiting for that push in. So far, the trades are not going in the favor of KCP.
No, and that's that lack of intel that seemed to haunt Nocturnes in their previous bout with Kansas City Pioneers under the favelas at that time, is they would lose players in the late round. They would end up going for big plays. But Gomez, instead of regressing, he tried to push inside a garage, almost got exiled, but then he's caught it on the blue window. Great watch and great foresight by Lackey. He's already on the rappel to move down to that position, try to get the refrag for his team. And that could have been a big show-stopping play for Kansas City against Nocturnes. But now, 35 seconds left. Fico has time to use these smoke bolts, move in the site, allow Exod to get a plant down. Wondering if Gomez maybe should have rotated back. But either way, what's done is done. The first smoke goes out, the second as well. But it's Mo to get a kill. And as Exod gets the bomb down, it's Jolton and Wimpy. The Pioneers once again in a 2v4. Jolton's creeped up red. The coverage isn't there. As the bomb's dropped on the floor, the player has to swing. Somebody has to go for a play. It's Mo moving up red and Lackey to finish things off. Very narrowly a dangerous round for Nocturnes that narrowly went against them, but great play by Lackey and Mohesi to once again, for Nocturnes, recover a 4-2 half.
Yeah, that was scary to see him deny the plant in those dying seconds of the round. Almost heart attack for Nocturnes, but they're able to make it back, able to push their way on to kill those last players on the side of KCP. And now we go on to a 4-2 half for Nocturnes, onto their defense. So the question is Nocturnes, have they done their homework? Is this the answer to their homework and they are just able to read KCP left and right? Or maybe this is an attacker-sided, clubhouse, and KCP are going to do the same on their attack.
That is the question here, because KCP are no slouches on their attack, that is to be sure. Especially on a map like Clubhouse, they have been very adept at their attacks, but on really maps in general, that seems to be a very strong side for them, very coordinated. They can be aggressive when they need to be, but not in a way that's too much. Of course, sometimes a player see right in their eyes, they charge on forward, but this is not all said and done for the Pioneers just yet. They still have plenty of gas in the tank, I'm sure. And because they've been so clinical on their attacks in the past, these couple rounds, I think, can set the pace. If they could even this 4-4, we have a contest. But if Nocturnes win this handily, just like they did a couple rounds on their defense, we might have another upset. We all predicted Wichita Wolves to win Orglis, and, well, we all know how that turned out.
Hey, it's fun being proven wrong. I love that.
That is true.
We all have our biases due to last season after seeing these teams play so well. So, of course, those biases are a bit, not really biases, but just, the proven fact that they've done so well. So we bring that onto the next season. And it's great to see teams prove us wrong, tell us that, hey, we're not great. We don't know the game. We don't know what we're talking about. And they prove us wrong and beat teams we expect to win handily in these matches. So we'll see what happens, though. As KCP, let's see them go to work. They're opening balls in the CCTV and cash defense from Nocturnes. And so far, Nocturnes playing to a chest, playing a normal defense. Though there are some roamers on the side. There's some people playing around the Jaeger. Jaeger of Freak is running around bedroom by himself, so he could easily be, cut off by these attackers if they're able to pinch him out. But where did he go? Look, he's still playing behind the bed.
Not something we saw all too often from the Pioneers, was playing too far offside or just sending one person to play off by himself. But Nocturnes, they certainly have a lot of players that play styles conducive for them. Freak, he was a big playmaker on Ape all the way back last season. And it's him to get that opening pick, playing inside a master bedroom. That's the sledge gone. A set of nades as well. You still have a set in the hands of Jolton, but he's the Maverick. He's going to spend a lot of his time hard breaching, so you won't have that same flexibility when it comes to your secondary utility. But he has opened up that plat wall. That's still big for the team. In terms of utility as well. Sledge is the most important one on this side of the defense. Yeah, you lose those nades, but you still have those ash charges, those impacts. So that Goyo shield Mohesi is currently playing behind still have plenty of avenues to deal with that, and not at all stunted just yet. But the one thing that might stunt them later on is this flank from FICO. He sends out a C4, but no, there you go. Gomez on the hunt, finds him down below, and even 4-4.
Yeah, interesting. FICO just kind of hanging around waiting for someone to push in Logi, but he's caught. He's probably been, droned down. They know exactly where he's playing, but as an impact trick comes through, they can't even open this construction wall. So the intent from Nocturnes is to hold construction for as long as possible. Oh, Wimpy pre-firing through those lines, gets the kill onto Mohesi. Freak though, one of his own. He's gotten 2 for the round. He takes 1, but easily cut down by Wimpy in response. And so far, it's been back and forth, but Nocturnes are now down a man due to that kill on FICO that could not be traded because, FICO was way off the site. So with only 2 players, Exod and Lackey in the last 45 seconds have a lot to hold.
That's one thing we'd like to see from KCP. They were playing a little bit individually on their defenses, but they're playing together here and capitalizing off of the very same mistakes that Nocturnes are making on their defenses. Now, Jolton and Wimpy, 35 seconds left, making the push into construction. Still outside at the moment, so Nocturnes have time to set up their own respective positions. They know Lackey's inside of garage. Nade sails on through, but he's able to rotate off. The nade lands at 90. He's still able to make it back and retake this angle, and now Jolton's out of nades. Can't push him off from that position, but you don't need nades if DS Lucas is hitting the rafters with the M762. Now Exod, the man who's went from Ash to support, he's got a C4, he's thrown it, ripped it, and it's missed. Nothing hit just yet. Jolton uncontested on the plant. Wimpy contests Exod's control, comes away with it. Kansas City come away with their first attacking round.
Kansas City, nice job on those trades. It wasn't looking good because we saw Freak take control early in the round, getting that first pick. Able to put themselves ahead in kills wise, but then able to still KCP, they open up into construction, get a kill. Freak gets aggressive, try and take it back. They take Freak out too. And they give that man advantage. They go for Rafters control. They grenade him. They cause for one player, the Aruni of Lackey, to be, distracted, knowing they're pushing through that CCTV window. And of course, they push through the garage door at the same time, kill him out, make it a 1v4 at that point, and easily, or 1v3 at that point, easily in the round. So good job, the KCP. Great job on that attack. And now we go to the defense of NKG More. They're going down to basement this time. And of course, you can see from the players, from the operators picked, this is going to be an intel denial of Rome here from the side of Nocturnes. So waste time, waste utility, and see how much they can, cause confusion and chaos in the ranks of KCP.
Ah, yes. The old SSG Rome. The ones our grandparents used to talk about.
I love it. We
never see.
We call it that.
Who does?
Everywhere. A lot of people talk like hate when they call it the SSG room.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, it's one of those things where I'm not a big fan of the term either, but it's almost it was so much associated with them at the time. It's hard to break that pattern almost. But yeah. It's not at this point. It's certainly almost like how when an artist dies, their intellectual property evolves beyond them and it becomes fair use. I feel like this realm has reached that. Not that SSG have died, but it's been around so long, it's evolved beyond that. Of course, Kansas City, they're doing the counter to an intel denial roam like this, where everyone's extended far off the site. What you do is you don't play into it. You just hit the site quickly. Of course, it's not going too quickly. They're not sprinting on through. They don't want to give away their positions. But right now, there's only one person directly on the site. Two, I should say. The Maestro in the castle. As Exod setting up the site, a prox alarm and dirt will signal the push incoming. Jolton prone might send a nade on through. Both him and Inrio have them in their pocket. Will send it over to box one. No, it gets caught. Exod's still able to play in this position, but here comes Gomez barreling on through, catches Exod with his back to him, but FICO punishes them, takes down Jolton on the entry, and it's Nocturnes to come away with it. As the site pressure comes on through, it's still back and forth, nobody moving away just yet. But in a situation like this, as Nocturnes start to rotate back, they're in the stronger position. Freak gets caught up moving a C4, but Gomez is on low HP as well. The angle's still strong for the defense, the utility as well. Enrio with bomb in hand, Wimpy's the only one who can cover him, now that it's moved to a 2v2. No more C4s left, but Nocturnes have a powerful angle, one at Church Double Door, the other at Ash Wall, and with some intel at their disposal, Pioneers stuck inside the site. Sure, they have a minute 40 seconds left, but time is certainly not on their side in this situation, and we'll start the plant. As Wimpy watches the cross, this is another powerful angle for him. FICO falls. He can't catch Lackey as he rotates on through the hole. He's still on low HP, but Inrio's fallen off the plant. He can deal with him now that the bomb is down. And the Pioneers have won 2 rounds in a row. They've evened it up. They've made it 4-4.
Oh, back and forth they go. It was close, but KCP on these attacks so far, they're able to read perfectly how to deal with that roam. Also, was dirt soft?
It might have been.
Because I'm pretty
even
sure.
if it wasn't.
I think he just sledged his way into dirt and walked in. It sounded like it.
I'll be honest, I was making a note, so I didn't fully see, but either he sledged on in or they used a Maverick. Either way,
I feel like it could have been Maverick because it was so quick.
Not too long.
It was so quick. I feel like they just walked in, like it was soft. So I think it was soft, which is definitely plays into how easily they can walk in. But of course, either way, great job from KCP to make that happen. Where they understood it was a roam, they saw there was a weak point, they pushed right through dirt. They make the play, make it a split play. It wasn't just a dirt push; it was a blue and dirt push, and the blue push came quick enough to catch the person in Arsenal off guard, allowing them access to Arsenal, have that control. It was a bit of a mess, though, because those C4s just playing pushes back in. They were getting kills back and forth, making it a 2v2. They go for that plant, but the cover is still really good for the side of KCP. They had the cover they needed to, got the plant down, and killed the last player who was trying to retake Arsenal. So great job from KCP. We go on one more time. Maybe another time. How many times are we going to try this? But Church once more for Nocturnes. And they're going to try once more. They're not going for... They still have some members of Intel denial here. They still have the Mozzie on the board, but so far it looks like to be not really a roam from Nocturnes Gaming.
Yeah, same side, but almost an entirely different way of defending it. They have that Aruni, they have the Echo as well. Some Intel denial on that Mozzie, but yeah, they're not extending nearly as far out as they did last time. So the Pioneers won't have as easier of a time to hit the side, or at least hit it as quickly. But Wimpy, he's still able to open dirt pretty much immediately. No hard breach denial on the side of the defense, so you don't even have to use a Maverick there. You can use one of Wimpy's exothermics, as most of the hard breaching here is when a Hibana's ban will be done by the Maverick if you're not bringing that ace. So, Wimpy, he has an exothermic to spare. You can open that up pretty quickly since there is no denial on the board. Also see the push in through strip, or at the very least, no, yeah, push in through strip. DS Lucas moving on through. And since Nocturnes are playing it close to the chest, we'll see the exact same situation that we saw from the Pioneers. Pioneers can move on in, since the defense isn't playing that far off. No aggression, but there is FICO on main stairs, so might not be some complete aggression, but there is someone eager to try to make a play, or at the very least deny some intel.
So what intel does KCP have on the aggression from FICO? He said, like, yeah, this isn't really too much aggression, but it's something, a little peak, something to give an edge to Nocturnes early. FICO, though, he'll hear the noise of those plays from KCP pushing the way, from upstairs, downstairs, to the players to the right, and he's gonna back off back into sight so he doesn't get, give KCP an early pick, because he could easily be overwhelmed by multiple players swinging him on main stairs. At this point, KCP, they've done their work. They probably at this point is probably jolting to open up these hatches if they go for that play, but I'm interested to see what they're gonna do. Maybe intent on opening up, taking control of blue, as Gomez is also bring in like a jumping replicator, get more information for his team as the timer is ticking. With a minute left, or a minute and 10 seconds left, they can use that last exothermic charge on blue hatch, and yes, it looks like the intent is gonna be blue and dirt, and open up. They can open that kitchen hatch probably because they don't want to get C4 or anything. Though I say there's no C4 actually on board. Never mind. Maybe they could get the kitchen hatch open.
Well, it does appear. I think it's pre-placed right now. You can still, if you look at the utility bar on the top right, there is still that one there. And unless I'm reading it wrong, I think FICO might still have something up his sleeve. Gomez certainly does. Pulls a play out of nowhere, peeking bottom main. Two defenders rear their heads. Now they're not alive anymore. 3v5 for Nocturnes, 45 seconds left. FICO might still have that C4, but either way, not much he can do with it now with how much impending pressure they are facing. The Maverick will get to work on Churchwall. A bit low on time, and with the close angle, there is someone watching main, so Jolton won't exactly lose his life unless Mohesi's managed to go unread. The head is spotted. He somehow lands it anyway. Not exactly Gomez's fault. Mohesi channeled his inner snake energy and just slithered on across the floor. Wimpy falls as well. Diffuser dropped in Moto. There's someone to pick it up, but since the Pioneers never cleared out blue, Freak's free to play on in. He gets the hip fire headshot as well. Inrio's left to try and figure out what the hell's just happened. You'll find one at the very least, but there's two to his left. One on the bomb chassis. The shots evade him, and the shots of the enemies are the ones that find purchase more so than Inrio's. Nocturnes, they stop the stomp by the Pioneers, and they win their first defense in the second half.
That was looking so good for KCP. Gomez getting 2 kills off the start, or mid-round, peeking down main, allowing him to really give his team an advantage at this point. So the fact that he had the control, they had the start of that round so well, but then they go for that play, they go for these pushes, and they're just losing fights to Nocturnes. You wouldn't expect it, would you?
Yeah, that play by the Echo just peeking Jolton. That's I would say while Gomez didn't land the initial engagement, you almost can't blame him at that point. The angle is not favorable based on where the Mavericks are, and Jolton, who's crouch level, again, he's putting his face directly into that based off the angle the Echo got. So unlucky, but that and Freak still existing inside of blue, those two factors were the beginning of the end for the Pioneers in that round. It is their first loss on this attacking half. Nocturnes taking a tactical timeout after that win, not to try and minimize that being a fluke, talk about what they did right, and also to try to break the momentum of the Pioneers. Not only will that round win, or not only will that round loss, maybe I wouldn't say it would hurt them too much, but it does break off their energy a little bit and give Nocturnes plenty of time to minimize the mistakes, or the little ones, that they made in that round.
Yeah, let's talk about what's going on and why KCP won those first two and how they're able to win that last one here. Nocturnes can recuperate, figure things out, and try to win out another one and tie them up, or KCP is still going to end up on that train of wins here on attacking rounds. We've seen it seems like the attackers on this map, at least right now, between these two teams, are the favorite half. Both these teams pretty good on attack. Know what they're doing. Both early, mid round, late round. So I'm interested to see exactly what happens here. Maybe we can go to overtime. Both teams win 2 defenses and only in 4 attacks. But here we go back to the game. We're back with Nocturnes upstairs in CCTV. And what are they going to do different this time, and how are they going to make it so they can't get picked off so easily? Because they had that construction hold last time, which was, they tried the whole construction as long as possible, but the construction hold, that aggression they had at that point was what got them, the man that gave KCP the man advantage.
Not only that construction hold, but FICO playing down below, nobody at arm's length in a position to get his refrag. Those were 2 big things that were Nocturnes' issues on this defense. So even if you want to have FICO off the site, at least playing someone with him, not necessarily down below. I appreciate they're going forward that C4, but you're just in such an exposed position down there. Difficult to deal with once the attackers know you're in that spot. FICO's extending a little bit. He wants to play more with the team. I think that's a solid play. I still think this hold has merit. It was just as you said, Benny. A lot of players were playing a little bit off-site. The Pioneers are certainly a team that have cut their teeth on clearing roams like that and pinching people out. If you give them somebody just sitting by themselves in an extended position.
Hey, Freak had a good start though, so it's kind of crazy that Freak got that first kill onto the sledge. I believe the sledge of Inria started us off. Yeah, so that was actually really good. I was thinking it was really good from them to get that first pick, but then they started aggressive on that. They don't expect them Wimpy to pre-fire that angle, I guess, once you open it up with the Maverick torch. But either way, first start here, open up that plat wall as per usual. Early in the round for KC Pioneers, open garage wall too, and how quickly is KC Pioneers going for this take? They have a Capital on the board from Gomez. Last time, KCP with KCP both Nocturnes, they played the Capital well. On Nocturnes attack, they were able to get some, on that one round, they were able to flame out the Jaeger of Inrio pretty quickly. So interesting if KCP can do the same.
FICO narrowly escaping with his life there. Grenade indicator flashes red, still only manages to escape with 35 HP. And frankly, sitting inside a swamp with that well-timed nade, excellent luck by FICO to manage to come away with that. Still has a C4 as well. Could potentially play from below, but with that wall open, no, he's rotated down to oil pit. Don't believe the attackers are aware of this position, or at the very least, they'll have to drone it out and likely do their due diligence and see if there's anybody down there. Because if they don't, a C4 could fly on through, or a Vector on top of that. You see the firebolts go out. Lackey starts to rotate away, manages to escape and go prone at 90, so not able to find him just yet. And in fact, it's Lackey that finds Gomez. Inrio's still alive inside of garage, but it doesn't appear they know that FICO's down here. C4 flies out just above. Is Inrio with the sledge waiting? It goes the other way. It's not able to find anybody, and instead it's FICO to fall. The sledge is now free to push up. Lackey's looking the wrong way. He's watching Breach. It's still DS Lucas all the way across the map to take Lackey's head off. And it's Kansas City Pioneers. What could have been a massive blow to their attacking strategy, they've managed to come away with a man advantage.
That was crazy. That shot from DS all the way in Platwell was fantastic to take out Lackey. And yeah, unfortunately, that C4, he throws it the other way last minute. I don't know if it was intel or what the call was, but unfortunately, that C4 will not get a kill. And so at this point, now up to the last few members. But no, Agzod goes down to Jolton. It's on the Freak in Mohes in a 4v2. With 30 seconds left to go, they have quite a bit of time to get this plan down, and there's not really anything they can use. There's no C4s available. They gotta take fights on these players. Watching Inrio, watching him. He gets one, and another free Inrio and ends the round, taking out both players. And KCP, pretty good there. Pretty good from KCP to bring it back. It was looking really good for Nocturnes.
And once again, FICO getting caught out in a bit of a compromising position. Of course, he did miss that C4. I think in all likelihood, he just heard the thermite walking and figured, hey, I don't know if he was absolutely certain on Inrio's position. Honestly, we might have known his position, but FICO might not have. So when he heard the sound cue of somebody stomping around at the breach, he's like, Probably safer bet. I'll toss a C4 over there. Of course, ended up missing. But once again, he's caught out in a position where nobody's in an immediate spot for a refrag. You do have Lackey on rafters, but he's getting pressured by 2 guys in garage itself and 1 guy on plat wall as well. He has to either play prone there or play a bit laid back, because if he gives himself up, it could be a pick. And it ended up going their way anyway. FICO falls, Lackey soon after, that's Raptors control, and now the attackers pretty much have control over site once that 3rd kill comes in. No more denial, no C4s. All that's left is to try and take those fights, and with plat wall control, garage control, CC window, and the bomb going down behind server rack, there's just nothing Nocturnes can do in that position with the manpower and utility they have.
Yeah, time to take back CCTV with no indirect utility, having to take fights with members inside of rafters with 2Xs, 1.5s. You're walking into a line of sight they're holding. It's very difficult for teams to do that. So far, so 5-5. Nocturnes and KCP are tied. But KCP looks stronger right now on the attack. Attack seems to be the favorite side so far for this map and this matchup between these 2 teams. So far, we're on gym bedroom for our next site from Nocturnes. And last time they played this site, which actually no, Nocturnes haven't played this site yet. It's the first time we've seen Nocturnes play gym bedroom.
This would be a little bit funny. I believe in the Favelas Nocturnes game, Nocturnes were up 5-4, and then they ended up losing 7-5.
Oh,
Would be a coincidental twist of fate if the same thing happens here.
just lose 2 in a row right now. Unfortunate.
That'd be incredibly unlucky, especially because Nocturnes, especially in their attacks, they look so good. On the defense, they've also had glimmers of brilliance as well. So they've certainly played well today, but they are looking to make that revenge tour true and not just a pipe dream. And they'll start by trying to clear out the CCTV and cache extension, or the Pioneers will at the very least. They'll move on in, and Inrio falls. I believe that was Freak. He'll even vault out to try to confirm the kill. A bit of a misplay by Freak, of course, downing him. Didn't anticipate the Zofia on Garage, but that was an incredibly risky play. I don't know if default was up, but if it was shot, they must know that somebody's in there. Either way, giving away his life early on, Inrio's also in a position to get rezzed. Taking out this extension just got a little bit easier.
Yeah, some early aggression. It just seems like this aggression from Nocturnes is misplaced at times or mistimed on the side of Nocturnes, which leaves giving a lot of kills to KCP. So at this point, KCP, they could look to take control of Cash and Red Hall. They'll FICO, and another player from Nocturnes are going to try and stop them for as long as possible. Question is Nocturnes going to try and stay up here and play for the lives, or are they going to retreat? Looks like 1 member in Cash has already retreated. We can open up that castle barricade inside construction window, make it more difficult to play as rotator, more scared to rotate through construction. FICO at this point, he may be in a place where he can't be refragged and he can't get out. Looks like he's waiting for play to push in. Looks like they're pushing, using those capital bolts to push him off the angle. C4 comes out. We'll get the kill. It will.
Oh.
Gomez goes down. Another kill with FICO on the Inrio. FICO with 2 huge kills. Mohis with another onto Wimpy. This turned around so quickly for Nocturnes.
FICO, a risky gamble on that one, but not only does the C4 play out, finds the player prone inside of Swamp, and how quickly the tables have turned for KC Pioneers. Nocturnes looking not to repeat history and looking to move to match point. It is unless Jolton and DS Lucas have something to say about this. They do have 45 seconds left, so it's not like they're getting a little bit short on time, but still something to work with. Jolton's rotated over to master bedroom, made a hole in that castle barricade. Nobody giving up to that fight just yet. Lackey's the only one playing inside of the room, but he too is just sitting behind that bomb chassis. So DS Lucas right now, he seems to be the one trying to make the play. There's one directly to his right, doesn't spot him in time. On the floor, the diffuser's dropped right in front of Logi. Jolton vaults on in after, almost loses the gunfight, but comes away with it. Has to switch to the pistol. Diffuser, at least recoverable, with 15 seconds left. A smoke canister, sure no C4, but 3 guns all trained on logistics. This is looking like Nocturnes moving to match point and potentially forcing the Pioneers to play for overtime. That's exactly what will happen. One round will decide whether or not Nocturnes even the score in terms of their overall matchups, or Pioneers, they still have some fight left in them.
Oh, we're so close to be proven wrong. All of us here on CO Desk or in the CO Talent are about to be proven wrong in a second, maybe. But that round, great job to Nocturnes, though, because KC Pioneers started great. You had that aggression from Freak, jumping through into rafters, losing his life, but FICO able to trade it back. He's playing great inside logistics, and overall getting those 3 kills, putting themselves in a 3v2 at that point was huge for Nocturnes, and they just held their ground, waited for the last 2 players to make their way through, had Crossfire stay together, and just kill those last 2 players. Big props to Nocturnes. They're on match points. We're going back to CCTV and Cash, which has not been great for them so far.
It has not been the best for them. I still think based on what they've done,
Attackers need to
they played this site twice now. KCP have won it. KCP have won it twice.
Yep.
Obviously. Surely they can learn from their mistakes by now. Surely.
Hey, it's hard to adapt mid-game. Hard to adapt.
I mean, it is hard to adapt mid-game. By the third try of a bomb site, one of the big issues, while FICO did make a big play that round, he's still playing in positions that he can get caught off pretty easily. I appreciate the play, and I think when he goes huge, those plays are amazing. Last round specifically, that play, the C4, maybe overstaying his welcome, but still coming away with 2 kills, surviving to the late round, or to the end of the round. He survived the round, period. When those plays work, they do work, and they often define the rest of the round. But out of the 2 or the 3 times he's gone for that, he's been punished. He's either missed a C4 and died, or been completely traded off and still missed a C4 and died. It's not all on FICO, of course. This is not entirely on him. It still also comes down to the players on site, on CC specifically, not able to stand up to the pressure, but it would be a lot easier if you had that C4 to survive later on in the round.
Yeah, those indirect denial devices like C4s are really important in game. Losing members early, though, sometimes it's not, you can't help it because you're in situations where you're playing Raptors, you're playing somewhere to take a fight. But I think like a FICO being without an arm's reach of another player so they can get refragged at least is kind of huge for Nocturnes in some of these rounds. So yeah, on to this last round of regulation. Once more we have this, and the first kill goes to Mohisto, playing aggressive upstairs, and Jim, he takes out Inrio. That's a great start. And I just sledged with 2 grenades like I said before. Losing sledge isn't too big on this site, but losing 2 grenades could be a round changer, though they still have a set of grenades on Jolton to help out. As you said, so first minute gone by, and looks like Platwall just opened up, and looks like at this point KCP are looking to take control of Garage, but there's a playing a swap and a playing Raptors as per usual.
Bomb located by attackers.
Webby will get tagged in the leg just as he rotates across, likely to open one of those garage walls. Maverick will rotate back down as well, so there'll be 2 players trying to open this up, and then maneuver to take down Freak. The Capitao as well, they certainly still have the utility and the control to take him down. Losing in Rio early on, that has certainly stopped their momentum when it comes to taking Garage. Exod still in a position inside a Suave. Pretty sure he's been droned, and with one opening up main door, he sprayed through the wall as well, and maybe through the door, but either way, it's an effective 4v4 if they manage to finish him off. Well, even if they don't, nobody really in a position to pick him back up. As Gomez swings, Freak does as well. Jolton will have to throw up his nade, but that was the last one gone. Freak is going to have a much easier time, but DS Lucas on Platwall continues to be the saving grace of this Garage take for the Pioneers. Wimpy as well, not keen to let DS Lucas try and save this game for his team. He'll move up Raptors, even it to a 3v3, or at the very least finish off Exod. But here's Lackey going for a flank on blue stairs. He might not have been red. Mohesi's moved down as well with a C4. KCP might not be none the wiser to this play downstairs.
There are 2 players downstairs, one with a C4, could go for a denial. The question is how much information is in KCP's hand. There are drones coming around looking for information. They have heard noises, I'm pretty sure, because they know someone's nearby. He knows he's there, but he still wins the fight, though.
That's Diffuser!
He's taken 2 as that's Diffuser on the floor in main lobby. At this point now, the rest 2 players from KCP have to find the Diffuser. There's a 1 extra charge used to open up between site and Rafters. At this point, Whippy will grab the Diffuser. Mohes is making his way back to site. Lackey's still playing inside a secret, and it's still a C4 in the hands of Mohes. They still can deny his plan from below with 19 seconds left to go. Whippy makes his way upstairs. Diaz still playing Plat. He walks over. He's going to concuss to allow him to walk in. FICO still has a C4 too. Could throw over a server wreck. Plan is now going down. Oh, and Diaz with a great cover. He takes out 1. 2 players left. They're both downstairs. Wimpy trying to evade the C4. Will evade it actually too. So now that they return to site, Diaz holding the cover. He can't hold the cover though. Lackey gets the kill. He doesn't know where Wimpy is. Wimpy lying down right in the middle of site. Wimpy's going through. They're both lying down. Lackey wins the fight.
What an ending.
And Nocturnes will take the series.
That was a comical way to end the series. I'm not going to lie to you. Both players prone, trying to catch the other off guard. It is a comical way, but a bit of a heartbreaker for KCP overall. Nocturnes, they will make that revenge story. No overtime possible. They stop the comeback. This is 7-5.